Hi everyone, good evening. Let's start our L2 training. In this L2 training, we are starting with projects. Okay, so we will first try to understand SAP projects. So in almost next 15 sessions, we will be discussing about SAP projects, different types of projects, roles and responsibilities of consultants, particularly functional consultants in SAP projects, different methodologies which are used in SAP projects. All that we will be discussing in detail. All right. So let's start. So here I can see two users, they join like, iPhone and W. Please mention your name so that, I can address you with your name. So please mention your name instead of iPhone and W. All right. So before we start today's session, anyone, any question? Have you come across any challenge while practicing, L1, those topics? Yeah. May I know the participant name who joined with W? Just showing W.
Varis, sir.
Waris?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, Waris. Yeah. All right. So let's start with, yeah. Let's start with projects. So the agenda of today's session is we will be briefly discussing about types of projects like implementation project and support projects. So first of all, we need to understand some terminologies like client or company. In SAP projects, a company that purchases the software to run its business and provides funding to implement the solution in SAP. So that company or the entity which is purchasing SAP software to implement for its business, that entity is called as client. All right. For example, if you remember, while we started our training, we discussed our client as Tata Motors Limited. And for Tata Motors Limited, there was a company code. So Tata Motors Limited, if it is planning to implement SAP, even after implementation for the support, if it is taking services from maybe implementation partner that we will be discussing, so that entity here is termed as client or sometimes company as well. Okay, a client is nothing but a company or an entity that purchases the software to run its business and provides funding to implement the solution in SAP. Like here, let's say it is Tata Motors Limited or any other entity. Then another term, implementation partner or service provider. So during projects, we will come across this term as well, that is implementation partner or service provider. For example, you can see here implementation partners like Accenture, Deloitte, IBM, TCS, Capgemini, Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, PwC, Tech Mahindra, Autos, NDT, Data. So these are leading SAP partners. There are a number of other SAP partners. Who are those SAP partners? A company that assists a client to carry out implementation, and of course in support as well to have, so what happened most of the cases, for example, like Tata Motor, the expertise of Tata Motor is to make cars, trucks, and buses. Of course, Tata Motor has its own in-house IT team, but for SAP projects, it requires SAP expertise. So what Tata Motors will do, Tata Motors will approach these implementation partners. So these implementation partners are nothing but they are SAP authorized partners. They are recognized by SAP as, they are competent for SAP project. So such, companies who are competent for SAP projects, authorized by SAP, such companies are called as SAP partners or SAP implementation partner or SAP service providers. For example, here we have considering like Accenture, Deloitte, and other so many companies. So a company that assists a client to carry out implementation, because client's core expertise is not SAP. So implementation partner is responsible for successful completion of the project. Okay, so that is the definition of client and implementation partner. So now what we will assume that, let's assume Tata Motors is our client and we are working for Accenture. So Accenture is the implementation partner, or TCS, Deloitte, or any one of these. Okay, so here, now how this process starts. So here, pre-sales of ERP, pre-sales of ERP. So in this pre-sales phase, SAP partners, that is implementation partners, identify prospects for SAP projects. So SAP projects, different types of projects like implementation, support, migration, upgrade, rollout, all we will be discussing in detail one by one. So in pre-sales of ERP, in this pre-sales phase, SAP partners identify prospects for SAP projects and tries to get the project from the client. So for example, let's say they identify one client, one potential client who can implement SAP, or who is already, the company already implemented SAP, but looking for support, right? So what happened? Different, SAP partners approach this client. Let's say IBM, Accenture, Capgemini, Service Provider, or other, or it may be vice versa. So the company, the client may be looking for SAP partners for SAP services. Okay, so business development manager of these SAP partners approach prospects, that is client, for SAP services. That service may be implementation project or support project or any type of project based on client's requirements. So pre-sales team assess, meaning type of business. For example, if you remember here, while starting our L1 training, we identified type of business of our client. No, not to schedule, practice. Yeah, in practice, you see here, we identified client, it's business vertical, then business, products and services, country. All right, so here in pre-sales phase, what they do, pre-sales team assess type of business, geographical presence, number of users, business processes, the client's requirement, and submit proposal and quote with reference to the request for proposal from the client. So in the client submit request for proposal to different implementation partners. So in request for proposal, clients needs proposal from different implementation partner, how they are going to successfully implement SAP, or if the SAP is already implemented, then how they will do the support. So that proposal, right, is provided by implementation partner. So whenever implementation partner receives the order from the client to implement SAP or for projects, any service, then implementation partner start using, for implementation, there are a number of methodologies that we will be discussing one by one. So from consultant point of view, so in this pre-sales phase, you see consultants are not involved. Business development manager is involved. However, of course, while preparing proposal or proposing the solution architects are involved in this phase to explain how, we can implement SAP, how beneficial it will be, how they can make efficient their business process, how they can save millions of rupees, all that. So solution architect, if required, that is involved in this pre-sales of ERP. So as a consultant, we are not involved here. So as consultant, we will be deployed in implementation project from different phases, in support projects and different projects. So client share the scope of work with pre-sales team. So in scope of work, meaning what is their expectation, what they would like to achieve. Also in detail, that is client share scope of work with pre-sales team, and pre-sales team discuss this scope of work with technical team, functional consultants, project management team, with different teams. So here in SAP projects, there are, the project stakeholders. Project stakeholders are nothing but people who are involved in the projects, like users, right, or the roles, consultants, management, and all. So those are project stakeholders. So, there is a team from implementation partner. There is a team from client.
Could you please repeat one more time, project stakeholders?
Yes. Project stakeholders are the people who are involved throughout the project. Okay, like, during the implementation project, the people who are involved. For example, like from client side, here we have accounts manager, meaning who will be looking after, as we know that for every sales, in every sales department, there is an account manager, and that account manager has to look after a number of clients. Then accounts manager, project manager, functional consultants, technical consultants, technological consultants. So IT team or team from implementation partner. So these are the stakeholders from implementation partner. Then we have from client, people who are involved from client side, like higher management, like factory head, supply chain management head, project manager, process owners, business analysts, core team members. All these we will be discussing one by one. So you can see here, people, right, or resources from both sides are involved. So the people or resources who are involved in the projects, they are considered as project stakeholders. I believe that answer your question, Firoz.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
So if you look at here in this chart, so project stakeholders. So from business team, that is from client, end users, key users, core users, super users. So they are from business team, from consulting, that is from implementation partner. We have functional consultant, technical consultant, right? And FS. So all that. So we will be discussing. If we talk about roles, like project manager, roles from business team point of view, like project manager, process owner, business analyst, core members. So project manager, lead SAP project from client side, who represents client, like most probably general manager of the company or CEO of the company or IT head of the company, the one who is leading SAP project from the client side. So most of the, so he may be general manager or CEO or IT head. Then process owner, lead the process for respective modules. So here, like top management, department heads, like CFOs, VPs, and right. So the department heads who lead the process of respective modules. So as we know that for different departments, different modules, like for procurement department, module, for sales department, SD, for accounts, FI, right? And for HR, HCM, or success factor. So the respective top management or department heads, they lead the, so they are involved as process owner, lead the process for respective modules. Then core users or core team members or business users. So they are first point of contact for functional consultant. So they are normally middle management or managers, like finance manager, SCM manager, HR manager. For example, from EWM point of view, our warehouse manager. All right. From point of view, procurement manager or SCM manager. It depends how they are managing different departments. Then end users, SAP users for daily business transactions. These are the people who are involved in day-to-day business transactions, right? Who create purchase order, or like purchasing officers, warehouse clerk, and other staff. So they are end users. Okay. So here, these are the different roles. So who the project manager, process owner, core users. So these are, now you get some idea, because these are the designations or the terminology we will be using throughout our project. So SAP projects, briefly we will be discussing. Like SAP projects are broadly divided into two types. One is implementation project, that is also called as here it is transition scenarios. And the second one is support or maintenance project. So in implementation, again, there are different types, like greenfield implementation project, which is new implementation. Conversion project, which is also known as brownfield, like upgrade from ECC to S/4HANA. As we know, SAP is going to obsolete SAP ECC by 2027. That is the reason why you see companies are upgrading from ECC to S/4HANA. Such projects are called as conversion project or brownfield project. Similarly, rollout projects, meaning, let's say now, let's say that our client is Tata Motor. Tata Motor implemented SAP for its one, for its one location, like for Pune. Now it is implementing across India one by one. Then that is the rollout project. Similarly, let's say Tata Motor implemented for India. It has presence in other countries, like in Gulf countries or in Bangladesh or some other countries. Then again, that is a rollout project for Tata Motors. Then upgradation or migration project. So upgrade from SAP S4 HANA, like from older version to new version, like upgrade from SAP S4 HANA 1909 to SAP S4 HANA 2021. So this is the example of upgrade or migration project. So these are implementation project. The second one is support or maintenance project, where once implementation is completed, then for rest of the product life cycle, support project or maintenance project continues till they stop using SAP for lifetime. So support project or maintenance project, where incident management, change management. All right. So all these we will be discussing in detail. Here we are trying to understand different terminologies. Okay. Now, so now we know what is client, implementation partner or SAP partner, then pre-sales of ERP, project stakeholders, roles, SAP projects. Then now let's start with a project charter. So the project charter, let me show you. The project charter is a collection of documents that together establish the foundation of an SAP implementation project by defining its dimensions and completion criteria. Additionally, the charter specifies required object management, control structure, and other important factors. So the project charter is a collaborative effort between project manager and project sponsor. So you see, we as functional consultants are not involved, but we will come across the term project charter. So we should know what is project charter. Okay, so project charter. So you can see the project charter is a collaborative effort between project manager and project sponsor. So together they define a common problem and solution. The project represents an agreement on and commitment to the deliverables of the project, as well as time constraint, resources, standards, and budget of the project. So the project charter is essential for managing the expectations of the project participants. Okay, so here in project charter, what they include mission statement, purpose of implementing SAP, goal and objectives of the project, scope of the project, critical success factors, high-level project plan, organization or staffing requirements, management responsibilities, resource allocation, risk management, right? All these are included in project charter or document, which list out in the document comprising of all these. Okay. So you don't need to make any notes because the documents which are being shared, same documents in the form of book you will receive. So this is about project charter. So as you know, for knowledge purpose. So we should be aware of the term project charter. Yes, Feroz.
So this project charter has everything, yani from cost to
Yes.
contract agreement, everything.
Yes. You see here, the project charter contains mission statement. The mission statement is a concise summary of the purpose and goals of the project. All right. Mission statements encourage motivation and support within the organization. So a statement clearly specifies the customers' expectations, the team primary customers, right? The purpose of implementing SAP, goals and objectives, scope, critical success factors, high-level project plan, right? All these. So the agreement is a different legal document altogether. Okay, and along with this a project charter, which shows the expectations, or rest of the things.
Yeah, it's like a deliverables. The
Deliverables,
expectation.
absolutely, deliverables.
Right.
What the client is expecting from this project.
Got it.
Okay, that is the project charter.